Peace everyone, Unmask Art here, and welcome to day 21 of Inktober. Final 10 days. I didn't think I'd ever get here. I can tell that a few of you are also getting a little behind on your Inktober pieces. I'm not getting too many of you sending me your finished pieces anymore, so today I only had like 3 or 4 that I could have shared today, so I'm going to hold off on those and share as many as I can tomorrow. So today's prompt is Furious, and somebody recommended doing a dragon, and that was kind of an idea that stayed in my head a little bit. And so for whoever that was that mentioned doing a dragon for Furious, thank you, because it influenced heavily what I'm going to do. Instead, I'm doing a what's called a Leviathan, and a sea monster. It's basically a sea dragon, and I've never drawn anything like this before. So this is kind of exemplifying the benefit of pushing yourself every day to do a new drawing for Inktober, because I don't know if I'd ever have drawn anything like this had I not, kind of forced myself into Inktober and really dedicated the time necessary to complete all of these drawings. For those of you that are in the Unmask Family Facebook group, you've probably already seen my digital planning for this piece. I decided to share that over in the Facebook group just so that you could get a little bit of an idea of the pain that I go through to plan these pieces. Hello, Kolya, Wendy, Gihan, Christine, Hilde, Silvern, Vikitha. Good morning. You drew 5 Inktober pieces last night. That is insane. I would never ever be able to do 5 in a day. So I have the sketch down, as you can see, and I'm just going to be inking it. And I have I'm not entirely certain how I'm going to finish this piece off. I was considering doing a little bit of shading with markers, but I'm not 100% certain as to whether or not I will do that. Feeling a little under the weather today. I think my wife got me sick, but I'm gonna keep it up. I just have a little bit of a headache right now, but I am going to push through and get this Inktober piece complete. Oh, hello, Wicked Illusions. Yes, just in time. I barely even picked up the pen, so Anna is sitting over there playing with her clay at the moment. So for those of you that were interested in some of my wife's jewelry, she's over there playing with some of her polymer clay right now. And she's been doing that all morning while I've been preparing myself for this drawing here. Hello, David. Sorry I didn't share your piece today, David. I didn't get too many Inktober drawings for today, so I decided to hold off on it and share everyone's work tomorrow. So make sure, if you do have Inktober pieces, they don't necessarily have to be Inktober pieces, just something that you've drawn or did in the past day or two. Send them to me over on Facebook. I have the link in the description, so yeah, feel free to send me some pictures so I can share them on tomorrow's live stream. I already have tomorrow's live stream scheduled out, so by the time this live stream finishes, you'll know when I'm streaming tomorrow, which is going to be an hour after this one. An hour later, I should say. So like I mentioned, the inspiration for this was somebody recommended doing a dragon, and instead of going with a dragon, I decided to go with essentially a water dragon, a leviathan. And yeah, this is what I came up with in Photoshop. I just set up my drawing tablet and sat here all morning, kind of doodling about, trying to figure out how to draw such a creature, because I've never done anything like this before. So I obviously went and looked at other people's work to kind of get inspired to draw this, and found a few features of other people's work that I was like, oh, you know what, I kind of like that, and I just made them my own. Really, I just kind of took it as inspiration and drew what I liked, and I went with, I don't know, I kind of went with like this gnarled tree type horn things, plus like kind of a skull shape. I don't know, just all kinds of weird stuff. I had no idea what I was doing, so I just kept drawing lines and reworking the shapes and contours and all that stuff. So hopefully it will turn out fairly good by the end. Hello, Jennifer. Welcome to the live stream. I imagine today's going to be kind of slow. It is a Sunday, so I don't know. Usually people like to just do nothing on Sundays, or get out for lunch with the family or something. So I'm not really expecting a whole lot for today's live stream. Like I said, I'm pretty exhausted myself, so I streamed for so long yesterday that I was really not prepared mentally for today's stream. I think I streamed like 6 hours cumulatively yesterday, so quite a bit. My wife, when is my wife going to do Inktober? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she's going to do any Inktober stuff. She is playing with her clay though, and that's about as close as I think she'll get to Inktober. Maybe next year. We'll see how things go. Maybe next year she can participate in a kind of passively in Inktober by creating some jewelry with clay or something each day. Today is Saturday. I think I put your brain on overload with the questions yesterday. Today is Saturday. Oh my goodness. Wow. Today is Saturday, isn't it? Oh man. I thought today was Sunday.
Because of yesterday, you know.
What do you, oh, that's, yeah. Okay, it's yeah. The reason I thought it was Sunday is because my wife didn't go to work yesterday, and it made me feel like yesterday was Saturday. And yeah, well, that just goes to show you how exhausted I really am. I'm surprised I was able to get a drawing this detailed completed as quickly as I did. It was tough. It was tough for me to do all this detail, because the digital version, I was able to zoom in like pretty close, and I was doing all kinds of ridiculous amounts of detail for the drawing, and yeah, I started a little bit later again today, but fortunately I got it all done, as you can see. I can't believe I forgot it was Saturday. Jeez. Well, yeah, then I have no excuse why today would be slow. Except that it's Saturday morning in the United States. Yes, she is feeling better. Thank you for asking. Hello, Erica. Welcome to Saturday's live stream, not Sunday. All right, just gonna work in one layer at a time. That's kind of how I designed this Leviathan. I just went really by layer. So I did like this kind of face, skull, shield, gnarled tree thingy. And then I did the layer behind it, which is kind of like, I don't even know what to call it. I have no idea what I was really thinking of when I was drawing this. I just kept adding weird things. I would look at other pictures of dragons and stuff online, and then I'd be like, oh, I kind of like that feature of one particular dragon. I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna add it, whatever. And I just kept adding random things. So that's basically how I came up with this idea. The prompt is furious. Yes, the prompt is furious. I didn't know I had no idea what to do. Like when I woke up this morning, I was like, I literally just typed in furious into Google, and the only thing that popped up was a bunch of the pictures from the Fast and Furious movie. And I was like, oh, you know what? I could draw a car. I could draw my favorite car from the Fast and Furious series. And I was like, that would be, I don't know. I looked at a bunch of the cars, and I was gonna draw my favorite car, which is the RX-7 that Vin Diesel's character drives in the first movie, the red one. And then I just decided, you know what? No, I'm not drawing a car. I don't want to deal with all those long, thin, curved lines constantly. It would just be too much of a hassle. So then I remembered that somebody said I should draw a dragon, and that's where it ended up. Yeah, I didn't want to draw a person, and I'm not a fan of drawing famous people. I never liked drawing famous people, because I feel like they already get way too much attention, far too much attention than they even deserve. That's for sure. And so I hate the idea of drawing them for free, I guess. And besides that, I don't want to piggyback off of their fame by drawing in people that are fans of them. So I'm strongly against drawing famous people. I've done it a couple times in the past, and just yeah. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Like I said, my brain is a little fried today. Got a little bit of a headache, but I committed myself to Inktober, so I'm not quitting. I'm not gonna skip a day. Not gonna skip a day. So if you have any questions, that would help me concentrate a little bit, and not have to, think up random things to talk about. And I do want to mention that the Unmask Family Facebook page is open for those of you that may have missed the announcement in the last couple live streams. So if you want to join, feel free to click on the link in the description. Be happy to have you. And make sure you answer the questions so that the moderators that let you in know that you're authentic. Let me see. I'm excited about 23 and 24 prompts, but tomorrow's is eh. Do you know what you're going to do for tomorrow? Tomorrow is trail, right? Let me know if I'm correct. I think tomorrow is trail. If it is, let me know, and then I'll try to answer your question. Is it very cool idea for Anna, and I, for one, would love to see her art in clay. Well, actually, you can go to her blog and see some of her artwork. It's posted in the Unmask Family page. Am I against fan art at all? No, not at all. I'm not against fan art at all. I'm against. I don't like drawing famous people. It's not that I'm against it or anything, or I look down on people that draw it. Don't get my position confused with, I don't judge anybody for doing it. It's just, for me personally, I don't like to draw famous people because I just feel like they don't deserve it 99% of the time. And it's a good way, I guess, to maybe get people interested in your artwork if you try to appeal to their fans or something like that. And I just don't like it. I just don't like that idea. I'm hugely against drawing anything that I don't like to draw. And so instead of drawing famous people and hoping that some of their fans come by and like, oh, your artwork is so amazing, blah blah blah, and they start following me just because I drew one of their favorite actresses or singers or something like that. I'd rather just get people that like my artwork, period, and it has nothing to do with some famous person that I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I'll admit it. It's probably a bit extreme, but it's just a personal thing. Hello, family. Hello, Riss. Are you sure you want me asking questions? Yes. Okay, so it is trail. Let me go back to that question. Where did it go? Oh. Do I know? Okay, so no, I don't know what I'm doing for tomorrow's prompt as far as trail. I'll probably keep it. I'll try to keep it simple, to be honest. But every day I try to keep something simple. It turns into this. This is me keeping it simple, and there's quite a bit of detail going on in this drawing if you can't already tell. So yeah, I don't know what I'll do for tomorrow, but hopefully I'll manage to keep it reasonable. I do know what I'm doing for, I think, 23, which is blind, or 24. One of those is blind. I already have my blind piece figured out as far as my idea. I mean, the idea is not very complex or anything, I just know what I'm going to draw. Do I use reference photos to draw? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, just looked at Facebook family page, nice postings. Oh, thank you, John. Appreciate that. Yeah, I 100% use reference photos all the time. I would never believe anybody that says that they don't use reference photos if they're drawing things they've never seen. If somebody is drawing a lion and they say that they don't use reference photos, then they either live with a lion or they're lying. So there's, I don't know, there might be a few people that are weird about using reference photos, as far as saying you're not really drawing, or you're not using your imagination, or some other nonsense thing that people come up with. I sometimes hear stories about people's art teachers saying that they should try not to use reference photos, and I think those are terrible teachers, and they need to lose their job to say such nonsense. I use reference photos for a lot of things. Sometimes I just use them for inspiration. Like sometimes I just see a picture of an object and I'm like, you know what? For some reason, this inspires me to draw. Even if it may not have anything to do with the object in the photograph. Yeah, so I use reference photos constantly, and I never use just one. I use tons, like just tons and tons. For a single drawing, I'll use like 10 reference photos or something. I had those planned over a week ago. Yeah, your art teacher is good then. What about tracing for practice? Now, I have two opinions with tracing, okay? The first thing is, if you're tracing, like say that I just leave this as line art. This is line art. And then you take this image and you trace it and you leave it as line art. That does nothing. That's not practice. That's not benefiting you. That's not helping you. That's just tracing artwork and doing nothing with it. But if you were to take this and trace it and then color it, then you're practicing coloring. You're not practicing drawing. There's a difference between, what you're practicing. And so if you're tracing just to say that you drew something, then you're lying. But if you're tracing something for the purpose of working on a different skill, for instance, coloring, if you trace the lines of a portrait and you color it, what you're practicing is coloring. You're not practicing your drawing. But if you freehand a portrait, then you're practicing your drawing skills. So there's two different things going on there, and as long as you're tracing, if you're tracing for the purpose of getting to the coloring portion, then I'm totally cool with that. I do it. As I would say 99% of professional artists are tracing at some point, because we use it as a method to save time. I mean, I traced my own digital drawing today. I drew this 100% in Photoshop. I shaded it and everything, but I'm not going to spend the unnecessary time drawing it over again. I already drew it once. What's the point of drawing it over and over again? I have no point. It would take way too long. And any professional artist would do the same thing because it saves time. I don't need to practice my drawing skills of something I've already drawn. So yeah, that's kind of my input on tracing. Some hardcore people, you know, are adamantly against all forms of tracing, and that's fine. That's cool. Whatever. I couldn't care less. I think tracing is a valuable tool. There's multiple different methods of doing it, and there's a benefit of doing it. I mean, if tracing, let's say I don't use a light box or anything, but a lot of people do use light boxes. And if tracing is considered cheating, then you have to consider the grid method cheating, and if you consider the grid method cheating, then you have to consider the proportional stick thingy cheating, and if you consider that cheating, then you have to consider using your eyes to draw at all cheating. So it's a downward spiral, and there's no logical reason to consider tracing cheating if you're moving on to color, because you can't trace color. You can't trace values. You can't trace all the things that make a drawing good. So now if you're tracing line art, then you're literally doing nothing. I always trace my own sketch so I don't have random pencil lines. Yeah, exactly. That's another reason to sketch or to trace. You know, so you when you, like I do, sometimes I've done sketches on paper rather than digital. I do a lot of sketching digitally now because it saves paper. And if I do my sketches on a piece of paper, I don't sit there and erase my sketch lines. I just trace over top of it and slowly and surely get cleaner and cleaner sketches. And I do the same thing digitally. When I do my digital sketches, I have my sketch layer where I use kind of like a pencil type brush, and then once I have that laid out compositionally, I make a new layer, and then from there I trace over my previous layer sketch, and I continue to add more details. I clean everything up. Yeah. So yeah, I think I've pretty much am just beating a dead horse at this point as far as tracing goes. Do I think that you develop observational details when tracing? If you're not good at details and don't see them in the first place, then just observation isn't going to make you see. Let's see. You know, that's kind of a nuanced question, and I think it's possible. I think it's possible to start developing a bit better like sight, like artistic sight, if you trace complex drawings. Because if you find that you trace it and then you missed something or something looks off, then you know maybe it will help train your mind or your eyes to see things a little bit differently or a little bit better. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I used to trace literally everything. I would just trace all day long. I loved tracing. I loved taking from a photograph or a picture in a magazine or something, tracing it onto a piece of paper and just admiring the difference that it looks like from being drawn onto a piece of paper by my own hand. Even if it was traced, it was still cool to look at. So I don't discourage it. I don't discourage tracing. Not at all. But I think maybe there's always potential. Okay, I think there's always potential for there to be some obscure benefit to somebody. You know, maybe not everybody is going to benefit from tracing, but you know, some people will. And I don't want to discourage those. I don't want to discourage anybody because those people that will benefit from it, you know, maybe if they come across somebody with some kind of weird perspective on why you shouldn't trace, then they're going to feel discouraged, not do it, and they're going to miss out on something that they could otherwise learn. If you're creating, there are no rules. So anybody that discourages you from any aspect of creating, whether it's tracing or not, I advise avoiding those kinds of people. Oh, hello, Leontine. Oh, you like this one, huh? Yeah, it's different. It's different for me. I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I've never drawn anything like this. So, I think what I'll do, I think I'm just gonna leave it as line art. I think I'm gonna try to make today's stream a little bit shorter. Let everybody enjoy their Saturday, and I'm gonna be a bum after I finish this stream. I am 100% gonna be a bum, but I'll leave it as line art, and then I'll take a picture of it, upload it, and if anybody feels like coloring it, I would love to see what you guys do with this. If you color it, it'd be really cool to see some of your guys' ideas for colors of this piece. So I'll just leave it as line art, and I won't shade it or anything like that. Let's see. Even tracing helps develop skill in long run. So one way of cheating if you trace somebody else's efforts and try to sell them. Hello, doodle stuff. Do I think to draw more often on digital in future? No. I don't. I like to use the digital. I like to draw digitally only for preparation to do it traditionally. I would never become a digital artist, though I respect the medium. I have to hold the pen. I have to feel the ink coming out of the pen. I have to be able to touch the paper. I don't like the flatness of digital work, and I like collecting sketchbooks filled of my drawings and things like that, and having them take up unnecessary space. Like I love that about traditional work. So I would never do anything full-time or full-scale digital stuff. It's just totally unappealing to me as an individual. Also, if you trace, are you not working on line cleanliness? Oh yeah, that's also another thing. I mean, when you're tracing, you learn different kinds of lines, and obviously you can fine tune. You can fine tune your drawing hand quite a bit. Maybe that's why I have such a steady precision when I ink, because I spent my whole childhood tracing everything I liked, and it prevents me from making a bunch of small errors now. So, I think there's probably a lot of benefits to it that are just unknown, unperceived. So, yeah. Yeah, that's also a good observation. Kids learning kind of their hand-eye coordination through tracing. Yeah, I think that's a brilliant observation. So for kids and even adults that want to work on their precision skills, then yeah, I think tracing would probably be a good tool for that. So yeah. It's going to be a treat for those who love to color. Really amazing line art today. Thank you, Wicked Illusions. I appreciate that. This reminds you of a way cooler version of the Digimon. I used to watch the Digimon. I used to watch the Digimon show way back in the day. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are liking this line art. I just totally random. So I'm glad that it's turning out so well and so well received among you guys. Maybe I'll draw something like this again in the future. I don't know. A larger scale, perhaps. More detail, even more detail. Because this one's kind of small. The digital version had a bit more detail to it because I could zoom in and get really fine lines. I feel like this has the potential of being a really fun painting. So did we change your mind about tracing yet? Oh, well, I don't know what part of my mind you're thinking needed to be changed about tracing. I think tracing is a perfectly acceptable tool. What you brought up was just some good points as to even more reason tracing is a good thing and shouldn't be discouraged. If I came off as though cheating was, unacceptable, did not mean to come off that way. I think it's a perfectly acceptable tool. This is probably the coolest piece so far. You have some good ones, but then again, I am partial to dragons. Oh, I didn't know that, Wendy. Yeah. Was it you that recommended I do a dragon today? I know it was somebody that in the chats yesterday, I think. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do today because, to be honest with you, I was kind of annoyed when I came across this prompt. I didn't look too far into the future, last week or anything And I didn't catch this in the beginning of Inktober, but I found this prompt to be a little bit repetitive, because it was like last week or a week and a half ago or something, the prompt was fierce. And there, I don't know, it's a little bit repetitive to do fierce and furious. I find those words to be so closely associated with one another that I felt like the prompt was the same thing over again. Without arguing semantics about the relationship between the two words, it was kind of I think a poor choice of words to have in a single month. I feel like there could have been a better choice there. Oh, it was you? Okay. Yeah. Good morning, Jasmine. Oh, Jennifer, I'm sure you're plenty good enough to be participating in this year's Inktober. You don't have to be of any particular skill level, because no matter what skill level you're at, if you participate in this kind of challenge, you're going to grow and learn things, which is precisely what I think Inktober is all about. It's really good to develop discipline as an artist as well, because a lot of people associate being an artist with kind of being a lazy social cast out that can't hold down a real job. Similar to the way society kind of paints musicians. And the irony is that it couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, I wouldn't be able to be as successful as I pretend I am if I was lazy. The amount of work that I put into my YouTube channel and my artwork is exhausting, to say the least. And so, doing the challenge and developing a bit of discipline with your work, I think, is probably one of the best benefits of making the commitment to do this. Because I wanted to do a month-long stream challenge like 5 months ago. I was like, it'd be kind of fun to just do a live stream every day for a month. And I mentioned it a few times, but I never fully committed to it. And then Inktober gave me the motivation to try it out, and it's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. It's especially difficult for me to come up with a new drawing every day that, I'm not gonna lie, I try my best to impress you guys with whatever it is that I'm working on for the day. They're not all fantastic, as we've experienced together. What adults tell children who want to be artists is so detrimental. Yeah, I agree. It was, I don't know how many times I got in trouble for doodling about in class, but I already told you guys the story about getting detention when I was in the 2nd grade for some of my artwork that I produced in art class with the mermaid and the seashell bra. But I don't know if I ever shared this particular story, but when I was in high school, what is this, the 11th grade, so yeah, this was my 11th grade. and I was in I was in video editing. So when I went to what's called a trade school, and I'm not sure if everybody knows what that is. Essentially, for where I lived, we had the option to going to a trade school rather than a traditional high school, and it you pick a major basically, and for that major you are able to focus on a skill rather than your regular subjects. Well, anyways, I chose video editing because it was the closest to graphic design. I wanted to do graphic design for obvious reasons, but that one was always hard to get into because that's where all the lazy people wanted to go, and I was definitely one of those lazy people in high school. But so I went to video editing instead, and we did very little actual video. Actually, we never recorded any video, but we did do some assignments that were related to video editing. But what we mostly did was Photoshop. We worked with Photoshop. And up to this point, I had already been working with Photoshop for 5 years. So when I was doing these Photoshop assignments, I ended up, by the time half the school year was over, I was done with every single assignment in the class. I had a half of a year of my class left, and there was nothing for me to do. So all I did was sit there and draw all day, for like 3 hours a day. And of course, my teacher noticed this probably by the second week or something along those lines, and she told me that I should start making assignments. I should start making up Photoshop assignments for the class to do, because my teacher didn't even know how to use Photoshop. She didn't even know what a layer in Photoshop was. Nothing. She got all of her Photoshop assignments offline from whatever random websites, and the assignments that she had us doing were so stupid. They were so just terrible. She was by far the worst teacher in the history in my history of school. Just terrible teacher. I had no idea what she was doing. So she came across me drawing, and she was like, you need to stop working on your own stuff and do the assignments. And I was like, I've finished every single assignment for the entire year. And she told me that I had to start making up assignments for the other students to complete. And I was like, that is literally not my job. And she ended up taking my sketchbook away, which is just absolutely unacceptable. And I was old enough to not fear my teachers, and I always lived by the philosophy, never take crap from anybody. And so I let it go for the part of class until class was over, in which I went up to her desk and I said, give me my sketchbook back now, because I think it's okay for a teacher to take something that is distracting you from your schoolwork, although it wasn't distracting me from anything, but she does have that authority in class, so I respected that until the end of class came and she refused to give me my sketchbook. She regretted that. But yeah, it was just it was just one of those situations where you have somebody of authority discouraging somebody from doing artwork for really no reason at all. I refused to leave the school. I refused to leave the school without my sketchbook because I felt like it was a totally inappropriate piece of property for a teacher to confiscate and not allow you to leave with it. Because, I mean, for me, a sketchbook is as private as someone's journal, and for a teacher to take a student's journal would probably be so unacceptable for a lot of people, especially if there's like private thoughts and information in the journal. So I was looking, I wasn't paying much attention to the chat, so I apologize if I missed anything. Okay, so Jennifer, you went to a VOTEC, so you know what I am talking about, a vocational school, yeah. When I was a kid during art class, my classmates would praise my art, then pass me the papers to draw on during art classes. I was always the kid that people would give their lunch money to draw them a picture. I think I graduated with high school, and $40 was the most I ever made from a piece of work, and it was a huge painting, a very, very big painting. It was like 18 by 24 or something like that. So a ridiculously sized painting for $40. That's crazy what my teacher did. Yeah. You come across some crazy people in your life, and she was definitely one of them. Let's see here. I think I can erase most of the lines with the exception of the scales. Can clean this up a little bit. And then I will explain how I do the scales here, because I'm not going to just draw these terrible looking lines. I'm not going to ink those, but it's something I've really briefly described before as far as pattern recognition. You get this a lot in flowers as well, and it's a way to break up a pattern and then draw it, like make it easier for you to draw it. And the scales here are the same thing, because you get, forgot these lines right here. So when you do scales, these lines here are a way to map them out, and then I'll show you how I'm going to ink them by using this kind of mapped out idea, instead of trying to draw all of them in just by hand without a grid map like this. Alright, so it's starting to look better. I'm going to obviously thicken lines and make this drawing look a lot better, but let me get to these scales. So let me zoom in so I can show you what I mean. So the way that I mapped them out is I drew all these lines going this direction first, and then all I did was take one end of this line and match it to the end of another line, and then I just did that pattern. That's how I evenly spaced these, so it didn't require a lot of thought. But scales, they sit on top of each other. You can kind of think of them as curves like this, kind of sitting on top of each other, and they work in this pattern right here. So I'm going to make these scales a lot cooler by using this pattern. I'm just going to straight up use ink. And okay, so let me just start here. So I have these two scales. This is going to be the tip of the scale. So I'm going to draw it in. I'm going to give it a point and then curl it like that. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to use this mapped grid that I created to lay out all of my scales. And then once I erase the lines, the scales will look really nice. This is a lot more efficient than trying to draw in your scales blindly, because you can easily get lopsided quickly by doing that. And if you use these lines as a system, you can really easily draw all kinds of different patterns. Now this works for different things other than scales. You can find patterns like this in all kinds of objects. Like I said, flowers is another common one. But did you see how I'm doing that? I'm creating kind of what is that shape called? A spade. I'm kind of creating a spade-like shape for each scale. This is going to help you with fish, drawing fish. And the best part is, when you're doing fish scales, the scales, they tend to group and they tend to get smaller towards the tail. And the best part is you can use the same pattern, then as you get closer to the tail, you just make it smaller and smaller, and then so you draw your lines closer together when you're mapping out your scales, and then you just fill it in kind of like this, but with the shape of your fish scale instead. So hopefully a few of you find this helpful a little bit, perhaps. It'll look better once I erase the pencil, the graphite. What do you want, cuteness? You messed up?
Right.
Well, bring him here. Everybody wants to see your stuff. Bring it here.
They don't want to see.
Of course, you guys want to see some of Anna's,
Crusty.
some of her polymer clay creations that she was working on. You're making earrings, right?
I'm playing around with crusty polymer clay, so it's crusty.
Oh, here. Hand it
It's
to me.
completely crusty. Okay, don't
Yeah.
make fun of it.
So here's some of Anna's earrings that she's working on. I like this one. The one where you made the indent of the flowers. That one's cool.
Thank you very much.
And I like these, the swirl of these.
It's supposed to be transparent on that clay also.
It's transparent.
I mean, mixed with regular ones.
Oh, yeah.
It should have some effect. I don't know what.
Well, we'll see after you make it, or after you bake it.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, take it back. Very good.
Well, thank you very much.
I like that shade of yellow. Oh, the chat stopped.
What you brought me. Oh, this one's like on the plane. We have crusty hand.
My goal today is to finish video 2 of the pastel course. Oh, that's cool, Jennifer. I look forward to seeing your finished piece. See, they like it. Yeah, I want Anna to make a nugget. You gotta make a nugget, but I should.
It would be difficult with eyes.
Yeah, it would be difficult with eyes. You know what you could do?
Hidden eyes.
You could use toothpicks
It
and
would be huge.
wrap the toothpick in polymer clay and then stick it in there a little bit. It could possibly, or maybe a little bit of your jewelry wire, maybe to reinforce the eyes.
It would be elastic too.
But you don't have to make them too tall. I could do a couple sketches for you as reference.
Okay, sweetie. So people hear me whispering, huh?
They hear you whispering.
My whispers are super quiet. Thank you for greetings. Oh, people.
They hear that too.
I know, this is why I said it. Creepers.
Yeah, she made this little teddy bear thing earlier today. She doesn't like it at all. She was just, her polymer clay is quite old, and Poland imports everything, so you never know what you're getting here. And with polymer clay, she thinks that the polymer clay that gets imported into Poland is already old, and it's all dry, and it's not soft, and it's not easy to work with. And so I told her we'd try to order some new polymer clay for her from Jackson's, because I'd like to get her back to work with making her earrings. She's always wanted to just make earrings and sell them. And yeah, so, and I think a few of you would probably be interested in getting a pair, I imagine. She only ever wears earrings that she made.
Where's Nugget's teddy bear?
I did. I shared the teddy bear. Calm down.
I'm asking, I don't listen to your comment. I'm listening.
Brenda, you can send the SME polymer clay. What is the SME? Do you know that?
Maybe I just
Is that a specific brand? I'm not sure what SME is. Yeah, Brenda, we'd be more than happy to get some polymer clay from you.
Where is it?
Where's what?
The name of.
I don't know.
You said something and you.
SME.
Like S, like letter?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
All right. The scales are done there. I still need to do them here, but I'm probably not going to put as much detail on them over here because that's in the distance, and it would be kind of pointless to try to put a whole bunch of detail there. But as you can see, the scales look a lot better than, you know, just a bunch of lines. And it was quite easy to do after having them mapped out. You worked at Joann's, some clay. Oh, some clay. Oh, okay. Not SME, some.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, Brenda.
Where is Brenda from?
Brenda, where are you from? I imagine if you work at Joann's, she lives in the United States. She has to. I don't think Joann's is in the UK. Joann Fabrics, it's a craft store in the United States.
Oh. We have people there. These are our own people there. Oh.
West Virginia.
Where is Virginia?
Yeah, I knew it had to be on the East Coast because I don't think Joann's. I'm not sure Joann's is on the West Coast. Could be. I'm just adding little texture lines to this kind of rib. The way I designed this Leviathan was kind of just a series of different doodles, different doodle shapes. What are you giggling about?
About the Jennifer.
About the what?
Jennifer session, you can't whisper.
Oh.
What you think about me? You can't whisper and everybody can hear me anyway.
Oh, Joann's is both east and west. I never saw it while I was out west, so that's why I grew up in Ohio, and there was a Joann's in our teeny tiny small town, so I never thought it was a big chain that reached beyond a few East Coast states or something. send me, I'm on Facebook with your address and the colors you need. They keep fresh clay. All right, Brenda, well, we really appreciate that. Figure out what colors you want, Kohanya.
What brands they have? I mean, all Pigma color. I know, in general, you know, blah, blah, blah. Of course.
I don't know, just orange, red, green. I don't know.
Stop asking me weird questions. I will appreciate whatever I can.
Okay.
Seems,
Anna wants you just to surprise her.
yeah.
So, whatever colors you you want to send, feel free to send. Yeah, I love her laugh too.
That's very nice of you people.
Anna says it's very nice of you.
They heard me. I wasn't whispering.
What?
I wasn't even whispering, so they all should hear me.
The secret to water splashes. Secret to water splashes is two things. Keep all your lines smooth when you curve them. That's the first thing. Do it in layers. So I know it might be hard to see this, but if you ignore all the little individual water drops that I put in there, you'll see that there's this basic line that goes like this, just curves around, and that's it. And then in front of that, there's another one, just a few smaller ones that lay in front of it. And then there's a few of these little squiggly lines that just contour the water just a tiny bit. So if you break it up into those elements where you get the big squiggly line in the back to cover up whatever's behind it, do another one, smaller ones in the front, break them up, don't keep the line consistent all the way as far as like just one solid line. Let it break up a little bit. And then once you have that structure sketched out or whatever, go through and add your larger drops of water, like here and here and here, and basically just make them weird looking blobs, and then draw in a bunch of little water drops, and then that's it for water and ink, to create water effect using ink pen. That's how you do it. Very, very, very simple. Just don't overthink it too much. Just don't overthink it. Okay, but she, what, blah, 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 blah. Like the first few times I used the eraser, I would like, oh no. Wait till it's dry. Wait, it's all dirty now? Okay, I must have missed something there. Okay, but she has to make a nugget for necklace. You have to make a necklace nugget. She's got her headphones on now. She can't hear me. So I have the base inking all done. Let me just make sure I get all of my graphite up. One last pass with the eraser, and then I'll add some weight to the lines to make everything stick off the page a little bit better. And that will be it for today. I need to fill in his eye too. His eye is supposed to be all black, with the exception of the highlights, so still got a little bit of work to do. She should be listening to you. I turn my husband's stream on when he streams and have it in the background. Very cool drawing. Oh, thank you, Hilda. There we go. All right, let's I'm gonna fill in his eye first. That way his eye sticks out. And then, oh, his nostril. I'll fill his nostril in too. That's supposed to be black right there. And then I will add, actually let me grab my thicker pen. Yes, here we go. This will help his head come forward off the page, making this line nice and thick. I'm gonna leave the kind of stringy things coming off his face, his whiskers. I'm gonna leave those alone because I want them to look delicate. I don't know, I kind of want to have the sensation of light coming from the left, which means I'm going to make everything on the right side a little bit darker and a little bit thicker. hard to find hard to find the time working full-time in my day job. Yeah, I can't imagine having the time to draw with a full-time job. My drawing is a full-time job and I struggle to find time to draw. Thank you, Diane. I'm glad you like it so far. Yeah, Inktober I think is a really good challenge to help artists develop the discipline necessary to being a bit more professional in their work, a bit more consistent. Having to draw something every day really sets a high standard for consistency. I'm using this pen here to shade the right side of my Leviathan here, and that helps create that subtle sensation that the light source is over on the left side. So if you're wondering why I might appear as though I'm skipping a lot of the lines, that's why I'm doing it. I'm going to use a slightly thinner pen for the left side of the lines. So done with that pen, switching to a smaller one now. And now I will outline the left side. Hello, Beatrice. Yes, you did miss a little bit. You did miss a little bit. Oh, thank you so much, SL Rogers. You'll have to let me know what I should call you, because SL is too impersonal. I've been recording your work to motivate me to continue. I bought a brush pen and splooged ink on my drawing of the Nutty Professor. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, you ended up turning it into a shadow. Well, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, sometimes you can salvage a little mistake. Sometimes it's it's kind of refreshing to make those kind of errors in your piece and then find a creative way of just incorporating it into everything. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna outline this now. I'm just about done with this inking. I'll just I'm going to outline this part and this part as well to make it stand off the page a bit better. And I think that's probably going to be it for this inking. And then I'll take a picture. I'll take a nice picture and upload it to Facebook, so you guys can download it and, you know, draw it or color it, so you can color it. I would love to see some of your guys' coloring of this piece, and, you know, maybe I'll color it as well. Don't quote me on that, but I maybe I'll try. Oh, take care, Doodle Stuff. Oh, and you too, Elise. Yeah, you know, avoiding, you know, recording Inktober probably would have been kind of nice at this point. There's a bit more pressure to try to keep up the performance, I guess, because obviously I don't want to be sitting here drawing junk. A small part of me still wants to make sure that whatever it is I create for Inktober Day, since it is a live stream, that it doesn't completely look terrible. This is a part of the Leviathan in the backdrop. I don't know if you can tell. I'm gonna avoid. I was gonna cross-hatch this part. It's like arching right there. I can add a bit of water. And over here maybe too. So he's going like this. He spins around and then comes down and spins back around, and then his tail is right there. I'm going to outline this really quick, just so it stands out just a tiny bit more. The problem with recording is that you're really slow, so much that my recording set runs out of memory easily. Oh yeah. You know, if you do long recordings, like, and you want to do time lapses, I can't recommend a better camera than a GoPro, because the time lapse setting, instead of taking video, it just takes a series of photos, and you can adjust the time interval, and that's how I record my longer my longer time lapses when I'm not live streaming, because I feel like I've almost just turned into a live stream channel ever since Inktober started. But usually I set up my GoPro camera. And the best part is with using the GoPro, you can set the picture size to, like, I don't know, I don't even know what the megapixels are at this point, but I think mine's 12. I have the Hero 3, which is really close to 2.7K. And because of that, when I go to do the actual time lapse, I can do some digital zooming without losing any quality, as long as I'm still uploading just at 1080p. And so the GoPro has just been the best camera for those longer time lapses, because I can sit here and draw for 4 hours easily and not even have used half of my memory card, depending on, you know, of course, how many photographs per second I use. But you know, for like 5 hours of drawing, if you have it set up so that you're only taking a picture every 5 seconds, it still is going to make for a really good, you know, 5-minute long time lapse where you're really not losing any of the detail of your movement. Was that a sneeze? I don't know. It could have been a cough. Can I use a black gel pen? You can, but I don't recommend it. Gel pens, I don't recommend gel pens because they smear so easily. And it's, I mean, if for me, I'm really got my hand on the paper here for this drawing. And it would be super easy to run my hand into a blob of gel ink if I wasn't super careful, and just being that careful would kind of get on my nerves. So I don't recommend a gel pen for the primary drawing process. I use a white gel pen for adding some white things at the end, but I'm really careful with that pen because I know it takes a while for it to dry. Same thing with the ballpoint pens. I don't like the ballpoint pen either. Like the felt tip, like the Sakura pen here. Let's see. You know, I think I might add a little bit of an outline to the backdrop of the water here, just to separate the water a bit more from our little creature. Not too much. I don't want to make it too bold. Just a little bit. There. Yeah, I like that. I think that came out good. All right, everyone. That does it for today's Inktober prompt. There's my fierce Leviathan. Again, like I said, do I ever use a dip pen? I have a dip pen, but I don't have any good nibs, and I can't seem to find any good ones. I would really like to, but yeah, I just don't have any good nibs. I like the control that I get with the dip pens. I used to use it a lot when I was in high school. Anyways, yeah, so I hope that you like my Leviathan here. As I said, I will take a picture of it, a really nice picture of it, and get the line art so that if you guys want to print it out and color it or trace it and color it, whatever you want to do with it, I'm happy to let you do that. And I would love to see what you do with it if you do color it. So please make sure you message it to me or tag me on Instagram or whatever you want to do, because I'd love to see what you guys do with the colors here. I was thinking about shading it, but decided not to, just so that I can give you nice clean line art. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's stream. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Peace.